Have you ever wondered what's behind those garden gates? Well, let us take a look at private gardens, tucked away behind the fence and walls, far from prying eyes. Today, we will fling the gates open and take you behind the garden gates. Today, we're going behind the gates, or actually behind the door, of Flora and Marino, where we'll be looking at their indoor plants. Hi, Marina. Hi, Flora. How are you guys?
How you doing, Wester?
So good to see you.
So good to see you guys.
Marino.
Good to see you, Webster.
Okay.
Yes, come in.
So we're in the beautiful home of Flora and Marino, and we're going to be looking at some of their house plants. And from the foyer right here, we have a beautiful plant. Which plant is that, Flora?
This one is paradise plant.
That's a paradise plant.
Yes, yes.
Okay. It looks beautiful.
Thank you, thank
Okay.
you.
And could you show us the rest of plants that you have?
We have some on this way.
And we know that house plants give us a lot of benefits.
Yes, yes.
What-
Hair therapy, just to relax and enjoy them. I mean, they're so just beautiful to look at them. That's, to me, that relaxes me a lot. And just taking care of them, you know.
Because plants give off oxygen,
Yes, sir.
and the air that we breathe out, the carbon
Yes.
dioxide, they take that through photosynthesis and then produce more oxygen
Yes.
for us. So they help to purify the air.
Mm-hmm.
You know that also plants also assist with your immunity. Because when the plants give off water through transpiration, that can help us in the home. It prevent like sore throats, cough and colds and all that. So I know we have a very healthy home here
Thank you.
for all the plants that we have. And some of the plants that we're looking at, Flora,
This one is a ficus umbrella.
umbrella ficus.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
umbrella ficus, and she's doing good. I got her when she was very little, tiny one, and now she's growing, which is great. And we have a Pepperonia. This one is a let's see. All the names are so. I know this is my
That's a
beautiful
Monstera.
Monstera
It's big
deliciosa.
Monstera. Uh-huh.
Yes, and the other ones are, I think I have the name somewhere in here. Philodendrons.
A philodendron. Okay.
Yes, so it's the one in the back. Um,
And then the other ones over here, we have like a pilia.
yes, sir, you do. Right there. They like this, the sun, indirect sunlight,
So they like the bright light,
the bright light.
but
Yes.
indirect sunlight.
Yes. Some of them like more water than the others, and it depends. You go like once a week, you touch them and make sure they have enough, plenty of water. And some of them sometimes you have to wait until they're completely dry.
Okay, so since you mentioned that, how often do you water them?
Once a week.
Once a week.
Once a week.
And we know that homeowners usually give the plants too much water instead of too little.
No, you have
And-
to wait until they ask for it. Like that one right there, the zebra plant, she likes to be watered twice a week.
That's the one we're looking at now.
Yes,
And that one is called a zebra plant.
zebra plant. Yes.
And the zebra plant is in flower. And that have a
Oh, yeah.
beautiful yellow flower
Yes.
on
and
that.
It was bigger, but it's just starting to fade.
So how long have you been gardening with indoor plants?
I always liked that idea. My dad in my country, he used to have a growing rice and all that. But when I came to the States, and then you're a teenager, you don't do it for a while. But especially now with the pandemic, that was the only thing that, you can get yourself busy with. And it's something that I really, truly enjoy, the plants and taking care of them and, just seeing what makes them healthier. While sometimes I have to move them around to see they might like the sun, they might not, they might prefer this shade, they might indirect sunlight. So sometimes I move them around a lot until you can see that that's where they want to be.
Okay, so some of the plants you kind of know about the plants by how you grow them.
Exactly.
If they're not performing well in bright sunlight, you might move them a bit to a more shaded area.
And then replant them when, like this one over here, we had them in bright light.
And that's a beautiful fern.
Yes, I took it out from the sun and actually started growing like crazy. But she likes it. She likes it right there.
Oh, that's a beautiful plant.
Thank you.
Real beautiful. And we have some orchids.
Yes, I have some orchids too. They need replanting. That's one of my things to do today, maybe. And
on the show today, we're going to show you guys how to repot your orchids. Because Flora is the queen of orchids.
No, I'm not. But
she got lots of orchids, and she's actually teaching me a lot on how to care for orchids. So we're going to show you guys some of our orchid collection and how we repot some orchids. So next plant we're looking at, what's this, a peace lily?
That's a peace lily, and that's a pothos.
And then a pothos right over here?
Yes, right over there, yes sir. And behind you, I can't remember that one.
This is a Chinese evergreen?
I think it is. It is in that family. And then...
Might be or a Dieffenbacher? Maybe a Dieffenbacher or Chinese evergreen.
That's one of the things that I usually do. I go to the store and I see this plant, I like it. And I might not know the name at the moment, but then afterwards I'm like, okay, I like it. It's,
Yeah, and some of the stores, the plants are misnamed. Some of them don't have the names on it.
Exactly.
So then we have to do a lot of Google search to get the names.
This is another fern right here.
Well, that's
also,
a beautiful
I had to
fern.
move around until now she's doing well here. So.
And then we have some prayer plant.
Yes. And these are succulents.
And some succulents right there. Okay guys, so we've seen a lot of Flora's potted plants or house plant that she have downstairs. We're going to go upstairs now and look at her orchid collection. So walk with us as we go upstairs to look at her orchids. Okay, so now we're looking at Flora's orchids. And most of the orchids you have here are what, the Phalaenopsis orchids?
They are. Yes, they
and
are.
Otherwise called moth orchids. And we know that the moth orchids are those with the thick leaves. Nice thick leaves. And they also have those elegant spray of blooms that just fall over. And the flowers are beautiful and big, just like we have one there.
I'm more like a rescuer than anything.
So you rescue most of these orchids?
Yes, I buy them when they're like really dying at the store, and I tell the guys that I can do something with them and just let me have them. Of course, I pay for them, but like they put them. Not everybody at the store knows how much sun they should get or not, and sometimes they just throw them out there and they poor things, go all crazy and start like this one's. Look, this one was right under the sun, so it's this one. That's how she got burned. But now she's even growing new leaves. This has been about 2.5 years that I got them last year, the year before last.
Because orchids, yes, they're tropical plants and they like bright lights, but they don't like to be in the direct sun.
Yeah, exactly. Completely
because the sun
indirect.
will burn their leaves.
Yes.
And orchids like good drainage because we know that orchids are pretty much epiphytes they grow in the top of the trees.
Yes, they
Right?
do. Yes, they do.
So when we plant our orchids, we have to make sure they have good drainage. And what are some of the stuff we use to plant the orchids?
The bark and
Like the wood bark?
Yes, the wood bark, and like this one, I got it not too long ago, and as
But
you
you
can
could
see,
also use some Spanish moss.
yes, and she was way over water. That's why the leaf is so yellow. So I'm gonna try to clean her up, cut that one out, and take her out of there in the new
So you
pot.
just get this one rescued. So you need to
Yeah.
revive her a bit. She was
Yes.
overwatered.
And she'll be fine by next year. She'll have more leaves, and she'll have flowers. All of them, the ones I have. That's how I started actually, because I feel so bad for them, and I think they're just beautiful. A lot of people think that because they're not flowering, they're dead, but that's not the case. The plant itself, as long as it's green and healthy, that's what the plant is all about.
And orchids are beautiful even when they're not in flower, because as you look at the leaves, they're nice and thick.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
then even the roots just flowing over give it a sculptural look to the plant. You know,
Yes,
you have a
yes.
nice, healthy, green, grayish color of the
Yes.
leaves, of the roots. You know that those are healthy. And your orchids like to be placed in the south or eastern facing windows.
Yes.
So they can get pretty much morning sun,
Morning
but not
sun, always indirect.
Indirect?
Never put them by the window without,
some shade.
some shade. Yes.
Because the ones you have here, these are what? More of a west facing?
This is the south, I think.
South?
Are we on the south side?
Yes, this is the south side.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I
Get my
think that's the
direction
south
right. That's the
side.
south side. Yeah,
So,
so this
yeah.
is one of the best areas for orchids.
Exactly.
The south
and
or
I
the
leave
east.
them there, and sometimes it can be really, really bright outside, but we put the shades.
If
and
that happened, then you just pull the shade a bit.
Yeah, and they're so nice and beautiful. I mean, I give them water once a week, and clean their leaves and whatnot, and that's how they just give you these flowers, for the love that you give them.
And we know that orchids like good air circulation.
Yes.
So how you make sure that you have that?
Well, my daughter was here, and she had this humidifier. They
Okay.
like that, and I keep my
You
fan,
keep the fan
going.
on?
Yes, we don't put the AC much until we're here at home, but otherwise, always put the
You keep the fan going
keep
so
the
it can
fan
circulate
going.
the air.
Exactly.
And then the temperature in the house, you keep that about 60 to 75 degrees
Yes.
Fahrenheit.
Yes. My husband would like to for less, but I'm always cold.
Now, do you fertilize your orchids?
I do. I sprayed a little, and when I replant them, I try to give them. This is what I use for them. Otherwise it's just basically water.
Okay,
I
so
don't
that's
do
a
much
Miracle
of-
Grow
Mm-hmm.
orchid.
Yes. And the other thing that I did once was put the eggshells,
Mhm.
and you grind them, and that powder you put it in there too, and by the roots, not on the plant, around.
Just around
So,
it.
yeah.
And that helps. And you do this once a month.
No, I do that once a year.
Once a year? But when they're flowering.
And when they flower, I just do in water, and they're patient plants. You just have to let them be. They want to do their own thing, and just as long as you give them water when they ask for,
Mhm.
that's all you need to do with them.
So when your orchids finish flowering,
Mm-hmm.
how should we cut back the stems?
I
these?
usually do 2 nuts.
About 2 knots?
1, 2. I will
So you
cut right
it
up
back right
here.
about there.
But this one is actually giving another plant up here. It's not a flower. It's another
So we
plant that
can
is going
see
to
a little
grow.
plant coming
Mhm.
on top of the stem there, which
Yeah.
finished flowering. Interesting.
Yeah, and that's going to be another orchid right there. But you have to let her be until you're ready to cut it. And that's what happened with the ones behind you.
Mm-hmm.
My other plant gave 2 shoots. That one in the little cup and the one in the water. I'm trying to see how you know, how they work better with water.
So it's an experiment right now to see if you can have
Exactly.
it
So
in the
that
water.
one was just like that little one growing on another plant, and she's doing good, and that one is doing good too. So I just keep them, you know, with water and see what happens.
And I know everybody would like to know about how you prevent like scale or mealybug. How you treat that?
When I'm replanting them, I get a toothbrush,
Mm-hmm.
and you take all that dirt and everything out, and then you just brush it like brushing your teeth.
Just brush the
And,
roots.
and yeah, and clean it up, right? And discard everything that you don't need, and you know, and always looking out for those little pests.
But any mealybugs and all of that, you can always use soap and water
Soap
with
and
vinegar.
water, yeah. So I put a little bit of water, I mean a little bit of vinegar and soap, and then water, and then I just get them in a bucket and drain, you know, submerge them, and usually that takes away the
And then that take it away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all your orchids are looking pretty good.
Yeah, they
You
need
know,
repotting.
They need to repot.
Yes, yes.
And we're gonna go downstairs now,
Yeah.
and you're gonna show us how to repot
We can do one, yeah, sure.
the orchids. Okay. So let's go repot some orchids. Okay, guys. So now we're gonna repot some of our orchids, and before we do anything,
We have to clean our instrument.
want to make sure that we clean our instrument.
With alcohol, it'll be fine every time, because you don't want to carry whatever this one have in case that one has something else, you know. You don't want to carry one to the other, so you just need to make sure you clean every time you work on each one of them.
Always
And
disinfect the instruments.
Yes.
Okay, so some of the tools we'll be working with is a plastic container.
Plastic container.
Make sure that it have good drainage
Yes,
in the
sir.
bottom.
Yes. These are orchid containers. You can find them not at the regular store, but you can order Amazon or, you know, Walmart, but on the web.
Okay, get it online.
Get it on.
And mostly when you buy orchids, they're in a pot like this, and then they're in a fancy pot.
Yes.
So this is the
yes.
inner pot.
And actually, this is even good because, you know, like I say, when you water your plants, you should get a bucket of water and put it in there and let it absorb and sit there and get moist. And then you just take it out, put it on the side, and let it drain all that water. You can't let them be with water for like days. That's not what they like.
Okay.
They'll die.
And other stuff that we need would be our orchid mix,
Yes, sir.
which is a blend pretty much of pine mulch,
Pine
Pretty
mulch and bark and yeah.
pine bark and mulch. And we're going to use some of these shipping
Yes.
container peanuts.
Peanuts.
Yeah.
I saw a show where this gentleman was using them, and what he did this for was so that the plant can breathe without having so much bark. So that's what I'm doing this for the
So you have
first
good
time.
air circulating,
Exactly,
down
good
there for
air.
the roots.
And then these are biodegradable.
biodegradable.
So then, you know, it's not like they're gonna sit there forever. So, and you can change them so later on. But I want to try to see what it's going to happen.
Okay, so it's the
Yeah,
first time
this
I'm
is
gonna
the
try
first
it
time I'm using
with
this.
the peanuts in the bottom.
Yes, can I
Okay.
have the other buckets, please? Thank you. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the old,
So taking out the old orchid.
yeah, and I'm just gonna try to get everything out
Get all the bark in there.
and let her be completely empty. I can use that one later on. And see, because
And now we can look at the roots. We see got
Yeah.
nice, healthy roots, the greenish, gray roots.
Mhm. And I have a toothbrush right
Toothbrush is
here.
right here.
What I do is I just do it with water and I wash her.
And then we just wash
Yeah.
everything off the roots.
Just in case, because we're gonna put a new dirt. So
And we know for the orchid roots, these are all healthy roots because the outside you see they still have the sheath. The root is actually the inside, that wispy little wire
yes.
that you can see, but we don't have. All the roots are so healthy that there's no damage, so we can't even see what the real roots look like.
Yes.
So we're looking at all the healthy sheets that cover the roots there.
Yes. So then we're just
awesome.
gonna make sure she's fine. And you always, when you replant, you try to get a bigger pot, not the one that comes in. So, you know, they grow out so much, and then you just never force them, just put them there and put the bark in.
So what about the roots that were sticking up before? You try to force that in, or you just leave them?
I just put them in,
up?
but the ones that are up, since you otherwise you might break them, I just let them be.
Just let them be.
Let them be.
Okay, so we won't force them down.
Exactly.
Okay.
They are just gonna do their own thing. And we're going to use this one.
And then we got the orchid potting mix.
Yes, sir.
Fermenting just a little bit, but still make sure that they're still here for good circulation.
And that's just about it.
And just fermenting just a bit.
Yeah, it looks great because see, it's going to be able to breathe. And you can see the roots.
You can still see the roots.
Exactly. And that's the main thing when you want to have these kind of containers, because otherwise you will not know if they're turning dark, too much water, you know, whatever the case might be.
Okay, so when it's transparent like that, you can still see your roots.
Yes.
So you can know the health of the plant.
Exactly.
Okay,
And
that's a good idea.
look right
Keep
there.
it in a
you
transparent
can see them.
container just like that.
And then you just put them in
And
water.
that's it.
That's all there is to it.
And then all we do now is just to water it.
Water them, and like I said, plant. It's a patient plant. They're not going to bloom every month. They're not going to bloom, you know, every other month. They might bloom once a year. I've heard that they can bloom 2 to 3 times a year, but
But they bloom a long period of time.
yes, they do.
You know,
Like
3, 4
sometimes
months.
this one started back in, I would say February.
This one start blooming in February.
February.
And it's still going.
And it's still there. I mean,
So it's worth it.
It is.
It's worth it.
It is. So you just wait until a little bit more water. And completely wet. Soak it
And
in.
then we'll just submerge it
Submerge it
and let the water
completely.
soak up.
Yes. And then you just let her be there for a little while. It's going to get wet.
And again, once we have our plants, we just need to water them, you said, once a week?
I do once a week.
Just once a week.
In the winter time can go even a little longer because, you know, and right now that it's hot, they need a little bit more water. But otherwise, you can go a week and a half. And as long as, and, you know, you can look at it and feel it.
You can know if it's
Exactly. And
very
you can
thirsty.
see when they're a little stressed out or whatever. And so then,
Just give it a
otherwise,
little water.
you know, wash
What about misting? Do you mist your plant? I know
Yes,
some
I
people
do.
mist their
Yes, I
orchids.
do. But maybe once a month.
Maybe once a month.
Because like usually if I
Because
go,
you have a humidifier, so
yes, and the other thing is this thing, by putting them in the water and let them soak in all the water, you know, the bark is going to hold on to it.
right.
So you really don't need, when you start watering your plant is when you're going to have every kind of problem, from the roots dying to having, you know, like
Root
this
rot.
one over here, exactly.
Yeah, the leaves start decaying,
Turning and-
discolored, getting that yellow color and all that, and get soggy. They're not
A
as
lot
firm
of
as
exactly.
when they're nice and green.
Yes, and one of the biggest problem is people think, oh, it's dry, let me water it. Don't. Once a week is more than enough.
Once
In
in
the
a week.
summertime, you can do maybe a little more, depending. But otherwise, you really don't need to.
Okay, so let's not overwater our orchids.
No.
Better to give them too little water than too much.
Let them sit.
Okay, that's good advice right there. Good advice. Okay, guys, so there we look at Miss Flora's indoor plants. We look at our orchids. And of course, we see how to take care of our orchid and how to repot them. And now we're going to go outside and look at some of the potted plants that she has outside. Okay, and Flora has most of her outside plants also in pot. So it's a container garden she have going out here. And the first one we have is a banana
tree.
a banana tree.
And the next one is a hydrangea.
Then we have hydrangea.
Yes, she already finished blooming.
This is what, an Annabelle? Or
I don't know which one. I think it's that the pinky one, but it has not. It bloomed already, so I took off all the.
okay, so it wasn't the white.
It
pink?
was white.
It was white.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a.
And this Japanese maple, Sangokaku. Yeah, with the red bark. Beautiful, beautiful specimen.
Yeah.
And then of course in the winter time when all the leaves fall off, the bark even becomes even more red. Yeah,
Yes,
so beautiful.
I got two hydrangeas.
So we have some
here.
hydrangea.
But with the water, so much rain, it's really this year is not being the greatest for my hydrangeas.
Yeah, you always get that when you get too much water in hydrangea. They get that little
This is
black
catnip.
spot on there. And there's another hydrangea, the variegated leaf one. That's a beautiful one. And this is a sage.
It's catnip, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a purple sage.
Yeah.
I think the name's right there. The tag is still there. Yeah, black and blue salvia. There's the black and blue salvia.
This is a dogwood.
It's another
But
dogwood.
the sun has really done a number on my dogwood this time.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they'll.
Yeah, because dogwood are understory trees. You know, they like to be under taller trees to
Yes,
protect them. So when we don't have
yes.
trees, I have the same with my dogwood. The sun just doing a number on them
Ooh.
because I don't have any tall trees yet. And Flora and I live in the same community. So you know, when they build new communities, they cut down all the trees, and we have to start back with tiny trees. So it's gonna take a
yes.
while before we get any shade.
Yes, sir.
Another Japanese maple here. This look like the emperor one or bloodgood. Okay, this is a bloodgood Japanese maple. Beautiful and nice fern. That Boston fern, I think, Boston fern.
We have some hibiscus. I like to put them together so they don't feel lonely.
Okay, so you group your plants together,
Yes, I like to do that because it feels.
create a microclimate there.
Yes, exactly. Yes, sir.
So has
This is
each
a bush or you can make it a bush or a tree.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it, but I saw it at the cemetery, and it was gorgeous. And I was looking for the longest time. Finally, I found it one day, and it has grown a lot because I got it just a little piece, something like that, and it's growing. But I want to make it a tree. That's
okay.
what I want to do. Yep.
That's a beautiful shrub. So you can keep it as a shrub, or you can train it to be a
yes,
tree.
sir.
And you want to make it a tree. That will be beautiful.
Coleus and elephant ears.
Lots of coleus, different color. And the elephant ear.
Water really has done a number on some of
Yeah.
them.
Begonia?
Yes, my begonia angel wings, I believe it is.
Yeah. Beautiful begonia.
Yeah. Supposed to rain all this week coming up.
Yeah. And the sedum here, frosted fire.
Yes.
Yeah, I got this one. Beautiful, variegated. And then it have the soft pink
Yes.
bloom right here.
More begonias over here.
Have more
This
begonias.
one is beautiful.
Rainbow. Rainbow euphorbia.
Euphorbia, yes.
Euphorbia.
That's
Rainbow
exactly what they
euphorbia.
are.
This is so beautiful. And it keep the variegation in the leaf all year.
Yes, yes.
All year.
And I have some heuchera right here.
Some euchre. And of course your croton.
Oh yeah, they're
Give it that tropical look.
yes.
Do you keep the croton out or you
No,
take
I
it
bring
inside?
inside.
Okay, so in the winter time you take the
Yes.
croton in.
Yes.
But most of the other potted plants they stay all year.
I will take this one, the euphorbia inside too, and that one over there. We'll see what else next. That one is inside plant. It's just that I have it out because
The spider plant.
yeah, for some reason I think it was a little bit too much water that I gave her, so I'm letting her dry out here in the heat. I like them. And this one completely.
The spider plant here.
Yes.
And it's flowering.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes.
Nice little tiny flowers with beautiful white.
Yes.
And lots of pups. You know you can get new flower from all of these.
Each one of them can be a new plant.
That can be a new plant.
Yes, sir. And then I have some wisteria.
Your wisteria.
I love wisteria. I just need to get me an arch so I can start.
Yes, it can grow up. Yeah.
More
Hydrangea.
hydrangeas. This is Annabelle.
These are endless summer hydrangea.
Yes, and this is Annabelle.
This is Annabelle.
Yeah. Some
Finished
geranium.
flowering. They were so beautiful when they started.
Yes. but
Nice.
The sun is really.
Yeah, white ball.
Yeah. Well, like you say, I'm waiting on my trees to get a little taller.
Yeah, that's what we're all waiting on trees to grow.
Like we have some
Geranium here.
geranium, and that one is
Oh, the fern?
autumn
Yeah.
fern.
Autumn fern.
Yes,
Autumn
sir.
fern.
My hydrangeas this year really suffer with the weather.
Yeah. This is a plumeria? This one?
That's a plumeria,
A
yes.
plumeria?
She
Beautiful.
bloomed the first year that I got it. She's been with me for 9 years now.
9 years?
Yes.
Wow.
So I don't know if this
It
year.
didn't bloom this year?
It hasn't. Actually, it's been even burning. So. And this one is hibiscus, but not the
Beautiful
regular
hibiscus.
kind. It opens up beautiful every morning, and it's big flowers.
It's a beautiful hibiscus.
We have some. This one
There
is.
on the side.
Remember the name of it, but it's elephant ear.
That's a,
But the other kind that goes up, it's a different name. These are my
different hostas.
different hostas.
Different type of hostas.
Yes.
It's a beautiful knockout rose.
I need to replant them.
Yeah. This is what, coral something?
Yes.
Yeah. Coral knockout.
Here's another
Beautiful
one.
color.
Too.
The asters in bloom. So pretty. I know we don't grow aster for the bloom, but you just can't help but admire
Yeah.
the bloom when they do.
Actually, I
They're
got
always
this
so
one
beautiful.
in a little, a small container, and I finally decided to repot, and they were so overgrown that I was able to fill out all the buckets.
Yeah. It's a ginger lily right here.
Yes. And these are chrysanthemums,
Chrysanthemums.
moms. And these were from last year, which I'm so happy because they're
And
so
they came
good.
back from last
they
year.
came back from last year.
Mm.
My cannas.
Oh, beautiful canna lily. Yellow and orange.
Yes. And
Beautiful.
the black eye Susan.
Black Eye Susan. Rebecca.
Yes, I just changed it to a new pot, so we'll see. I'm waiting for those to, get bigger and But I like them in container because if you put them on the ground, they'll just
They
go
spread,
wild.
yeah?
Yes.
They spread. I like that about them when they spread.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
I have them in my
on
prairie garden.
Exactly, but on
They-
the path that you don't want, you
Right.
don't mind, it's fine. But when you have a,
To control them, you have to
oh,
keep it in a
it's
pot.
impossible. Yeah.
And then right along here is our azaleas.
That's it. And at the front we have different ones. And when that first came about, it killed my front bushes, so I still don't know what I'm gonna put here. I have these ones we have to change.
And the tea olive. Little bloom coming up. And tea olives are very fragrant. Yeah, a little tiny bloom. They're insignificant, but they smell beautiful. You get the smell more than you can actually see the flower.
In the morning, if you're gonna
These are
hurry in the
Orthon?
morning. These ones
Orthon?
are- Yeah, but
Yeah.
they in that late frost that we had,
Yeah.
they killed my plants and
Yeah, I did a number on
more.
most of our plants.
I had calla lilies this year. White
Oh, the
calla
calla lilies?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
They were beautiful.
The sweet potato vines.
And some more geraniums. And that one over here, I got sedum. I always have this pot for sedum, and this somebody brought it in. I don't know how, but
It's a volunteer. You didn't plant it, it just
all of
come.
a sudden,
You're the
I said to
volunteer.
Marino, my husband said, he goes, I think we have weed growing in there.
Yeah,
I said,
so
no, I have
Mexican
seen that
sunflower?
leaf. I think it is. It's in the Black Eyed Susan family, but
Yeah.
but this somebody brought it in.
It's just
and
a volunteer.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
I know. I'm gonna take it out and put it in another pot. And our roses, and that's about it. It takes a
Okay,
lot
guys.
of time.
There we went behind the garden gates of Flora and Marino, looking at her potted plants that she have on the outside and also her indoor plants. And of course, she also taught us so much about orchids. It's very hot, so I'm sweating like crazy. So I just like to.
That's the southern.
That's in the south.
Look, it's thundering already.
Yeah, so we know we're going to get some rain. So before it rains, thank you guys for coming behind the garden gates with us as we look at some orchids from Flora and tour our potted plants.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting us and for taking us
Anytime.
inside your home. Okay,
Anytime.
so we'll see you in the next video, guys.
Keep gardening.
God bless, and we'll take you behind another garden gates.